Alleycast with EJ and Carrie from NAAlley.com, dishing the latest on new adult fiction, the book industry, and drinking. Writing. Get ready. This shit's about to get crazy. Here's EJ and Carrie.
And welcome to Alleycast, the inaugural Alleycast. We have a fancy intro, so this means it's the real deal. This is a new adult conversation with a twist, because how else can you have twisty conversations? I'm EJ Wesley.
And I'm Carrie Butler.
And each week, we and our guests will offer up our sometimes funny, always honest opinions about what's going on in NA. So, here we are.
In a virtual studio.
There should be like fireworks or something. This is like the first one.
So here we are, crickets.
Right, I know. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
This week we will have author Casey L. Bond on with us to kind of take a look at some inappropriately hilarious and sexy Halloween costumes.
Yes.
Stay tuned for that. But first up, we thought we'd round the horn with a little bit of news. In our first bit of news this week, Amazon's going to take over the world. I don't really think that's news, but I just thought you should know.
Yeah,
Amazon is going to open up its first retail store. A giant Amazon will be opening its first ever physical store in the heart of New York City. The Wall Street Journal reported. It's a brick-and-mortar retail store that will function as a mini warehouse where customers can go pick up their Amazon orders. So, I've never used it, but you know, they have this whole Amazon locker thing. Right, or so you can, if in certain areas, you can have like a designated locker for your package drop-offs. And
that will never happen here.
In your part of the world, it'd be like a tree, like, under Old Johnson's barn.
Yeah.
That's your Amazon locker.
It'll be like Katniss stores her bows inside of trees. It'll be like, from here to southeastern Ohio.
Under that old stump over there.
Yes. Where are the drones? I thought they were going to bust out the drones.
They're coming. I think the big drone thing is the whole FAA approval loopholes and things I have to get through. But
that's another thing that would not go over well here.
Right.
They're going to get shot out of the sky.
Right.
Not necessarily by me. I just think in this area.
You're like, in case it does become legal through the FAA, it won't be me shooting them down the sky.
Yeah. This is southeastern Ohio.
Federal
Ohio.
Brothers. Ohio. Yeah. In related news to this, they're not just stopping with one store. They've decided that they're going to open up, Amazon will open up pop-up stores for holiday seasons in various cities around the country, and they're going to start here in my neck of the woods in San Francisco and Sacramento.
Yay!
And I think the idea is sort of like these Halloween costume pop-up stores you see everywhere, and they kind of take over abandoned Walmarts and whatever else. It's very similar to what Amazon's going to do. They're going to take over abandoned office spaces, and just for like Christmas, they're going to open up stores where they sell their Kindle Fires and
smart.
Those things. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty genius.
I like it. You know,
This
people
just
that are
in.
like hardcore traditional, save the bookstores are going to be like, how dare you support the Amazonian overlords?
Right? And this just in, Amazon just purchased Heaven. And the good news is, if you're a Prime member, your prayers will be answered in 2-day shipping.
There you go.
Bad news is, your prayers all have to be formatted in Mobi now, apparently. So, there you go.
But
Right. Wah, wah, wah. One other piece of news that I had that I just thought was funny is a U.S. tourist gets trapped in London bookstore. The giant Waterstones bookstore, which kind of is, if you're a fan of books, is kind of one of the meccas on the planet to go to the store. Well, some schmo from Dallas, Texas, of course, is basically like in London hanging out, decides he needs to use their Wi-Fi, I'm sure to check Facebook or something. You know that's what he was doing. Like, he's like, oh, I got to go check in at Waterstones, so that way people think I'm here shopping for books.
I like to believe that he was going up to check NA Alley.
Exactly. He's like, oh, God, I know there's a new update coming down.
Yes.
Got to check in. But anyways, he ducks in, he goes up to the second floor and finds a comfy couch, because that's what anybody does when you go like Barnes & Noble or whatever. You go find the comfiest damn chair in the place and you hog it and take it over. And he goes up there, and apparently they locked him in. And the thing that's crazy to me is, so he sat up here, messing with his phone. And then he decides he's done, and he goes downstairs, and all the lights are out in the building, and the doors are locked. So I'm like, what? Like, when the lights start going on, did you think they were just, like, setting the mood for your latest, web chat or something?
Yeah. Do they do announcements or anything?
I guess not.
I've never been over there.
Yeah. Because this is what he says, I get ready to leave, and I walk down, and it's completely dark, and the doors were locked. I'm like, that's kind of a lot of things that have to happen for all that to occur, right?
Yeah, that's like the start of a novel.
It's not like your and I's house, like where you leave the kitchen and you flick one light switch and it's off. Like, it's a whole thing. Like, there are lots of lights in the store. Anyway, so he goes down and says, after several hours of waiting, he took to social media to broadcast his plight, posting on Twitter and Instagram. The best tweet ever is he tweets, "This is me locked inside a Waterstone bookstore in London. I was upstairs for 15 minutes, blah, 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 I came down." This is his follow-up tweet. "Hi, Waterstones. I've been locked inside of your Trafalgar Square store for 2 hours now. Please let me out."
That's like when people post pictures, like when they go to a new state, like they're in Utah, and they're like, "Utah, I'm inside of you."
Right. "Please let me go. I want to leave."
Oh, my God.
They eventually did let him out.
I was going to say, how fast was the response time there?
It took several hours from the start. I mean, several hours. And then he tweets at 4:24 p.m. I don't know what that means, but he says, "I'm free." That's his final tweet.
I'm free.
Poor bastard.
Yeah.
And the other thing that kind of irks me about this is this. I mean, for like a book nerd, getting trapped in like a bookstore overnight, like you feel like something magical should happen, right?
Yes.
Like, it should be like a night at the museum thing where the characters in the books come alive. And
that was what I was thinking.
It's like, no, he just like hangs out tweeting people. I'm like,
now, what if he got like really annoyed that they hadn't saved him, and he just went around and like dog-eared all of the books, or just like, trickled one page on each of them?
Tore out like the 100th page in every book.
Yes. They better check that.
No, try again.
Tonight, we have our guest, Casey L. Bond, on with us.
Casey, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and your books?
Okay, I am a wife, mother, author, and certified crazy person from Milton, West Virginia, and I write new adult and young adult fiction, and I have several books available, including new adult books, Double Creek, Shady Bay, and the Sin serial series. And I also have some young adult dystopian books available called the Harvest Saga, along with Pariah, which is a paranormal fantasy, hot fallen angels. So,
is there any other kind? I just have
yes, exactly. Thank you.
I mean, come on. What good's a story to me if fallen angels are homely? Like, come
on. Nobody wants anything to do with homely ones. But I enjoy making hot book boyfriends for fangirls everywhere. So, yeah.
Awesome. And if you guys don't know, if you go to like a con or, a festival or something, Casey is an author that everyone hates because she has like the big pretty posters and like the super nice setup and the little tables, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, I love your table," and they're secretly like, "I hate you. I hate my table and I hate myself." But
no, I like to have fun.
I'm like hiding the paper airplanes I made for my table.
Yeah.
Is that why you threw candy at me?
It is.
You thought it was a sign of endearment.
Yeah.
I did. I thought she was like,
"Oh, she's showering me with sweets."
Either that or like my breath stunk or something. And like, you really need something over there.
And I had Dum Dums too, because I'm like, Dum Dum.
I mean, I still have a bruise and stuff.
Yes.
It's tragic.
She tried to sue me, but
nice.
I have
they
nothing.
threw it out in court. So here we are.
Yes. Casey, it's awesome to have you as our inaugural guest. We're going to say inaugural at least 45 times.
Yes.
That's awesome. I'm proud to be your
I don't know if I can say it once. Inaugural.
You did!
There we go.
course you can say
Yay!
it. I didn't say it correctly because I'm from Oklahoma and I don't say anything correctly. But
Well, I'm from
I'm
Ohio.
a hillbilly from West Virginia, so good luck.
From near Hillbilly's Hot Dogs. Oh my God. Okay, before we get started, I have to tell you guys about this place I passed, just so I can give you an idea of the area of the country.
Go
Lost
for it.
Woods. We're
It's not
driving
a
down,
wrong turn.
driving down the road, and we see like this bus that's parked off the side of the road, and it's got this like big old sign, and all this stuff like everywhere around it says Hillbilly Hot Dogs. And obviously, it said it in that accent because it was written on a sign, but that's how I read it, and I was like, I am both intrigued and frightened right now because, you know, you think of like the banjos from that movie where the
here's the truthfully scary thing about that. So when you think of like hillbilly anything, you think of something that's not quite like what it would normally be. Like, so a hillbilly hamburger might be like, you know, sheep meat or something like that.
They have funny names for their hot dogs. Like one of them is called like the Home Wrecker, and
I
it's
love
got like all this crazy stuff on it.
Well, here's
I
the
don't
thing.
even know.
Nobody
It's
knows
just
what the hell's in a
hilarious.
hot dog to start with. What's in a
Yeah.
hillbilly hot dog? Like that? What kind of critter is it? Possum? And,
Yeah.
like, what goes in that?
I don't know. It's like squirrel and like roadkill. I don't know.
The sad thing is, I would probably try it. I wanted to try. I
You
was
gotta try anything once, right?
yeah, and that's the NA slogan.
Yes.
And speaking of new adults, we are going to kick off tonight's Halloween festivities by counting down the 10 most ridiculous costumes found in the sexy department. And I want you guys to just take a moment as we go through them and think about the person who went around their house and said, man, that's sexy, you know?
10,
Just looking at this first one, what the hell are they supposed to be? Like, is that
Yeah.
supposed to be a watermelon or something?
Yeah.
It's a hamburger, isn't it?
It is a
a
sexy hamburger.
Like,
Hey, where's the beef? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, there is the beef.
It's clearly a turkey
I don't
burger
know.
because it's.
Yes, this model is like stick thin, and she's got like the dead eyes because you know she's been trying on all these sexy costumes, and she's
It's-
just given up.
it's tragic.
It is
yeah.
tragic.
That's awful. God bless her for
Yeah.
for being brave enough to put that thing on.
Well,
Yeah.
at least she found matching shoes. Can we all go
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. Well, her shoes are cute, but
9,
Because you know this guy's like going to a parade, and he looks up and is like, look at that flag. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
he goes home. Or girl, whoever.
Well, to properly display it, you've got to have a spotlight on it when it's dark, and you need to take it down when it's raining. So
Does that
Cool.
mean she's declaring her independence?
exactly,
Right. And you know people are going to dump water on her now and be like, you need to take that off.
exactly. It's raining. It's inclement weather. You need to lower your flag.
Does she have to burn it when she's finished? To
She
properly.
might. I think
Ultimate
she does
pickup.
anyway.
Ultimate pickup line for this girl. How do I get you at half staff, baby?
Oh,
Oh my
gosh.
gosh, that is awesome.
You know, Casey's over there writing that down. She's like, that's a book line.
She's like half
That's
staff.
awesome. That's going in.
Going in the
next-
Sins series right there.
Yes.
I actually have an inappropriate costume party in Devil Creek.
And Devil
It's like
Creek.
inappropriate couples.
What?
Yeah, like Papa Smurf and Smurfette and like pregnant nuns and priests.
No.
What?
Oh my
Right.
god. What is
Nuns?
Devil Creek? You're all going to hell.
I know, see?
A pregnant nun?
I should have mentioned that, yeah. So it's like inappropriate couples. It was this party and everybody had to dress as like inappropriate couples and, you know, we had some funny stuff in there. It's something that I would do if I were going to host a Halloween party.
You have to now. You have to host an inappropriate.
You want to come? You guys are invited.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Inappropriate podcast hosts.
Awesome.
If there's
Will you wear
anything
flags?
The NA Alley flag.
if there's anything that's going to get me to fly across the country, it's pregnant nun costume. Cosplay.
Exactly. Thank you.
8,
I actually enjoyed this one. I'm kidding. This
I
one
bet
was
you
called.
did, babe.
No, this one I love. I love all the men's costumes names. This one is called Saddle and Straddle Cowboy. And he's wearing like leather chaps, well, probably fake leather, but leather chaps and a little vest, and a
It's
little
assless chaps.
tiny bandana. Yeah.
You might have to edit that.
Oh my gosh.
That's
This one
hilarious.
would be pretty awesome if you ditched the blue jeans underneath. If you were that brave and just wore like a tone bikini brief or
Yeah,
something, you could really freak people
cut.
out. That would be amazing.
You know, this looks like a book cover.
It does.
It kind of does. I'm pretty sure I've seen this on some historical romance novel.
Even the title could be a title.
You're right.
Saddle and Straddle by Casey Bond.
Oh. Giving me ideas over here.
Yeah.
7.
Oh, Lord.
This is the
Isn't it hot in
Cotton
here?
Here Fireman. Yeah, that's
Oh, it is not.
That's what it's called. Oh my gosh, we know who's designing the costumes now.
I think we figured out who named them.
Oh,
Casey.
you totally busted me.
Casey.
It's like I named sexy male costumes in my past. In my
This is
free
how
time.
I supplement my royalties. By
Yeah,
designing
fairness. This might be,
costumes
this
for
and like
men.
the cowboy were like the only two I would say are like legit sexy like man costumes that we've seen. Most of the rest
Yes.
of them are really
Yeah.
looking like
They're
If they want to
manly.
do the sexy fireman thing, they have to do the Soza Blue tequila guy.
Of course,
Everyone,
the only thing with this
ladies,
guy
go look it up.
is he looks like, except for the hat, like the fireman hat's pretty legit. But like the little outfit with like the green reflective stripes, he just looks like the dude that picks up trash beside the road.
Yeah.
Like the prisoner that picks up trash.
Just a smoldering version of him.
6.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Those are like really, really strangely.
Yeah. This is the deluxe jellyfish costume.
Oh,
The sexy jellyfish.
because
Yeah.
all jellyfish have eyeballs where the tatas are. Like,
Yes, and they're
Exactly. Where the
all
top-
jellyfish are sexy. I think jellyfish, that's sexy. That's hot.
For once, when a
Wow.
woman says, "Look me in the eyes," you can, gentlemen.
Yes, yes. You can look in those.
A glob of gelatinous stinging goo.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And they're like little, little streamery things underneath. Like, she's going to trip on that and fall and break her face.
Good lord.
And there will be people like us there laughing and it'll be sad.
I'd totally laugh. It's all good.
Do you have anything in a sexy jellyfish?
Yeah.
5.
Oh, mother of God.
Oh, no.
Barney.
It has a tail. It looks like it's eating her head.
That's exactly what I was going to say. They've got like the Barney head on top of her head and his mouth is like digging into her skull.
See, I went more into like puking her out because that's what kind of I felt like doing when I saw this.
Like, I love you.
We don't know that Barney wasn't a carnivore.
That's true.
No, he's a T-Rex, right? He totally was.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah,
This
nom
is
nom.
historic. This is historically accurate.
Just in naming principles, I think one thing we can discern from this is that Barney is no longer under copyright rules, so they can
Yeah, it
actually
seems
call
like-
him not like sexy purple haze monster.
Yeah.
Sexy purple haze monster.
4.
This is
Oh,
sexy
God.
French fries. Where the top, the bodice is a bunch of like peeling French fries coming off of the top, and the bottom is like a skin tight little red thing. Over the crotch it says hot fries.
No.
Little scissors
No.
coming off of it.
That is
There
so
are pills that you
weird.
can take for that.
3.
This
Oh,
is a
this
couple's costume. Sexy polar bear couple.
What? Why are his claws on his knees? Like, that's so
I
weird.
don't know.
Maybe he's supposed to walk around on them? I don't know.
I guess.
That would be the most disturbing sight, though. Like, back to, like, the NA stories and stuff. You go into a party, and they're making out in the corner, these, like, two furry polar bears with the hoods up and everything going at it. That would be the creepiest, like, Nat Geo-looking thing
I
ever.
watched an NCIS episode like this once.
Yeah.
Criminal Mind. It was some sort of criminal show.
Yes.
It's just too weird.
Oh
Tell
my
nightmare
God.
story.
These poor animals are losing their habitat.
They really
I have a
are.
feeling these costumes just set them back another 25 years.
They do.
Like, nobody's going to see these jokers and be like, all right,
And if
nobody.
you want to wear something like that for Halloween, at least put blood on it and stuff. And make yourself like a, like a
have some.
angry polar bear that just ate a seal or something.
Yeah, and then PETA comes, and they're like, Casey.
Right?
They
Oh,
make blood all
You know,
over
that
themselves.
would be the problem. They'd be like, Casey, did you club a polar bear for your outfit? Because you're covered in blood.
2.
Sexy rocket babe.
Better
Again,
known
kids'
as
toys.
Buzz Lightyear.
Yes.
Can you imagine? Because there are women out there that have children that put their kids in bed at night. And they're getting ready to go out for their Halloween party, and they roll through, and the kid wakes up and sees mom rolling through as sexy Buzz Lightyear, and dad is like Woody or something.
I bet he is Woody.
Tragic.
It really
That is frightening.
I could just hear that, Daddy, Mommy.
I'm confused.
Yes.
1.
So here's
No.
which again,
You don't desecrate Elmo like that.
back to the sexy theme.
Okay,
Look at
EJ,
that.
you're the guy here. So I mean, you want Elmo to be sexy? I'm confused.
No,
I've
not
got
at
their
all.
slogan. Their slogan could be, "We're bringing sexy back to Sesame Street."
No.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, sexy Elmo.
Only thing worse is if she had a tickle me sign or something.
Ew.
Oh my God.
That would be weird.
Oh my gosh, I heard a joke however many years ago when Tickle Me Elmo first came out. Okay, so I don't know if I can remember on the spot.
I feel a
but it's
moment we're gonna have to edit out here.
yeah, we're gonna have to edit it out while I remember it, or I give the punchline away. So a blonde goes to work in a toy factory, and the supervisor's like, okay, here are all the pieces, you put on the nose and the eyes and all the stuff, and then when you're done, you give it 2 test tickles to make sure it works. And she's like, okay. So he comes back after an hour, and he sees the Elmos all have their little white eyeballs sewed on their crotches, and he's like, what are you doing? And she said, you just had to give it 2 testicles.
Oh
And
god.
that's one of those horrible, cheesy jokes, but apparently I've remembered it for 10 years.
So the worst thing about this costume is this: it's you could basically just take a kind of fairly standard, crappy prom dress, and then
Yes.
just put an Elmo hat on, and you're done. You've got
And
it.
it's creepy the way it's sitting on her head. It's crooked on her head, and just the face of it. It's like she cut off Elmo's face off of a stuffed animal
It's
and
like wearing it like
plastered it to
Hannibal
her head. Yeah.
It's like wearing it like a skin mask, like Hannibal Lecter.
Yes,
Ew.
exactly.
Yuck.
Did I hear? It sounded like somebody Elmo laughed. I'm hearing.
That was my Elmo laugh. I have to do that for my niece all the time. She has a little Elmo puppet, and every time I have to talk in the Elmo voice, and it's horrible.
You know what would make that outfit super creepy, Carrie, is if you dressed as that and went around Elmo laughing all night at a party. That would make it really creepy.
That would be creepy. I would love to do that.
It would kind of be awesome. I'm not
It
gonna
would be
lie.
awesome. We're gonna have if we ever have a big NA Alley con or something, we're going to have a costume party.
Yes.
This is gonna happen.
Blast off.
Those are our sexy costumes.
Mm.
Those are horrible.
It's like
Yeah,
the
I feel like
flashback.
I'm just a little disappointed in humanity now.
And
Yeah.
I feel dirty.
Just a
looking
little
at
bit.
it. Yeah, just a little bit.
All right, so I think our next thing we were gonna ask Casey was what's the sexiest thing or sexiest now? God help me, not that. We were gonna ask you what the scariest thing that you'd read or written or seen, but I
Yes.
think we can cross scene off the list.
Yeah.
Well, I am permanently and forever afraid of clowns because of Stephen King's It.
Mm.
That is the creepiest book, the creepiest movie, the creepiest everything. Ugh. That's all.
So are you a Stephen King
Drop the
fan?
mic.
Have you read lots of his stuff, or just it's one that
You
you
know,
read?
I've read a few things, but that
Right.
just creeped me out so bad.
I don't blame you. I think a lot of people that have read that story would rank that way
Yeah.
up there with some of the scariest that they've seen. What about written? Have you written anything? Even tried to push the envelope a little bit and make it scary? Or?
No, I mean, some of my paranormal stuff, I guess, could be considered a little weird, but nothing really like horror. You know, I've never
Right.
written anything like
Mhm.
that. So Pariah probably pushes that envelope more than anything else, and it's my young adult paranormal fantasy. Blech.
And what part of that, if anything in it roamed close to being scary, what would you think it might be? Is it more psychological type of scary? Or?
No, the main character is given certain powers, and they sort of manifest when she isn't expecting it. So certain, certain things are just a little bit scary at times, just because she's not expecting to have the ability she has.
You should work for the government.
I should.
I like how cryptic you can be, telling us stuff. You're like, certain people and certain things
I
happen.
know, you just automatically omit all the good.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't want to say anything, but I already work with them. No.
And she's shutting us down next week, Carrie.
Yes. Yes, she did.
That's some sort
Yeah.
of FCC something.
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what's going to happen.
So, question: your paranormals, do they have vampires in them?
No, fallen angels.
I was going to ask that. Does anybody else feel like the vampires are not?
I like vampires.
But do you guys feel like they're kind of not scary anymore? I kind of feel like vampires really aren't scary.
Yeah.
I
They're
don't think
not
they're
scary.
scary, and I think that you have to do something different because so many bars have been set. Like you don't want sparkly vampires, and you know what I mean? It would have to be very, very different. And
Yes.
I like different, and I kind of like that kind of challenge. So
I mean, I think they're just kind of seductive now. Like I think that's anytime there's a vampire in a story, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be that same. He's gonna be seductive. Yeah, he might kill somebody or do something. But
Yes. But you're not
Right.
going to be like thinking about it when you're going to bed, like, vampire's going to get me.
Right. I'm no more terrified of him than I am the D-bag at the bar. That's unbuttoned halfway and all those things.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. I hope we don't do the same thing to werewolves and other things that
Yeah.
were once
Werewolves are
dramatic
getting
for
there.
me.
Yeah.
Zombies are still scary for now.
Right. Because I think it's for them. You can go like put them in that bestial, where they don't really act human or think human kind of mode.
Right.
If you want to.
Right.
So I think that's fairly common. But then now it's also common for the other rest of the time they run around with their shirts off and they're super hot, Native
Yes.
American dudes or whatever. But
I'm not complaining.
right, there's room for all of it.
There is. Oh my gosh. So Casey, speaking about, new adult and NA, did you have any kind of, standout experiences during your NA years? Anything, particularly interesting or even scary or disturbing or
Nothing really scary, I would say. I was just a typical college kid, I guess. I just commuted to school and did my thing, but I don't know. I guess the thing that stands out about my college years is like 9/11 happened when I was in class, and I remember that. And I remember everybody thinking, at first that, it was just a fluke and that the first plane had just, made a mistake, the pilot had. And then we were watching on the news and saw the second plane crash into the second tower. And so that just will always stand out for me as far as my college years go.
And that is scary.
Yeah, it is. It's frightening because it rattles your, I don't know, your feeling of security and safety, I guess.
Right.
Strikes close to home. So.
And that's a very interesting point. I was in grad school when that happened, and I remember it extremely vividly. Like I said, I worked in the counseling office on campus. Actually, I was at home getting ready to go in for my job, and that came on TV. I watched it, and then I immediately went up to the counseling center, and we were just like flooded with students just wandering in, like just wanting to talk and hang out, and we stayed open like literally 2 full days straight, like 48 hours, all day, all night.
Wow.
Just kind of as a place for people to come, because nobody knew how to deal with it.
Right.
And I think it's interesting just from how it shapes NA, like our NA experiences, like a pre 9/11, post 9/11.
It did. It
shaped
shapes
everything.
it's definitely a marker for a lot of things,
And I do wonder if we went back to college now, like I know a lot of colleges now they have metal detectors, they have and all that stuff really
Security.
happened after 9/11. Now, not all of it happened because of 9/11, but that's kind of the world, how it shifted since that.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I wonder if we would feel that, if we would be like, wow, this is not quite the free and easygoing experience that we enjoyed when we went.
Right.
Well, even just like at the end of my college years compared to the beginning of them, they started putting keypad like access code things on the bathrooms, like the community bathrooms on each floor. Like you had to dial in numbers to go to the bathroom, and if it was an emergency, God help you. Like middle of the night, you don't know what the code is. You're like,
You're like junk dialing the keypad.
yeah, but even just for a matter of years. Yeah. Well, because before that, there were always like creeper guys in there in the mornings, and you'd be like.
So, a question for you two is there anything from your real life NA experience that's made its way into your fiction somewhere?
Ooh.
Like a party that you went to and you kind of wrote it in there, and you don't have to give away anything, too whatever. But I'm just curious to know if people are doing it, because I do, like, more like just sort of some of the relationships and the funny things that people would say and stuff like that. But.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that, you take experiences from your college years when you're a little bit wilder, and you can draw on that, and maybe not a specific party, but some of the things you may have done at parties. So you,
if you guys listening could only see Casey trying to hide that smile right now. Oh Lord, I'm reading all these books.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you remember what it's like to be that age and just, enjoying life and your friends and your freedom, and it's just fabulous, and it's a great time period. And I think that's why people like to read about it, and you don't have to be that age to enjoy the books. It's the same thing with young adult. I mean, people of all ages can enjoy that just because it's a great time of life, and you can just relate with it, and I think it's great.
Yeah. I don't know if any of my, experiences made it into my series, but, places, mixtures of places of the different campuses I've been, kind of all came together for my campus, and, characters, just a mismatch of people going into one character.
Right.
Like that. But I don't know if I had any specific experiences in there. I wish.
Mm-hmm.
If there was, there was my male character when I was in college, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be talking to you guys. I'd be busy.
My novel, I definitely played on some of that stuff for when I've because it's actually set on a college campus, and so I mean I pulled quite a lot from my own college experience in that from different things. A lot of it because it had to do with mental health, and it was actually the story takes place sort of in a counseling center around that, and so I was pulling on a lot of different things that I had gone through, and done. But mostly for me, it's just that vibe, like you were talking about, Casey, that kind of careless. I don't know. It's not carelessness because there is some responsibility there. You
the freedom,
right? It's just that freedom that you just go kind of do what you want,
And the possibilities. I mean, you have your whole life in front of you, and mistakes to make, and decisions to make, and roads to cross. So it's just a great time of life.
All right, Casey. Let's go back to Halloween for a minute. Now that we've pretended to be grown-ups and be serious for a minute.
Right.
We're going to play a little game to see if you can guess the top 5 most popular Halloween candies in America.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I feel like we need a dramatic music.
Yes.
Okay. Snickers?
That is number 3 on our list.
Oh.
They encourage me. M&M?
Yes, that's number 2.
Okay.
Ooh, that's high. That's high.
Kit Kat.
Kit Kat is number 5.
Oh,
Wow, I didn't expect you to do this well. This is my cheating.
Okay. Reese cups.
That's number
Reese's
1.
Cups. I don't know.
that would be
I call it Reese cups. I don't know what you call them.
49% of customer spending on Halloween is Reese's.
Okay.
That would be my guess. That would.
And suckers. I don't know what you call them. No.
Wah, wah.
Okay. Hershey bars.
Strike one.
Yes.
Hershey bars. Wow.
Number 4. You're crazy. How do you know that?
Take that.
Yeah, you were just rocking along. You're like Tootsie Pops. I'm like Red Vines.
I'm like, what would I want?
No, that's fine. You ruined my game.
I'm sorry.
We're going to have to make it hard next
I'm a
time.
good student.
You are. That's crazy.
Did you
I should
Google
have had
it?
EJ do it.
Right? Oh, I would have totally screwed up because I'm not a candy. I don't eat sweets. I do eat Reese's peanut butter cups. That's why I would have guessed that.
I'm the same way. I don't really eat sweets, so I'd be like, nerds.
That would have been me. I'd be like a Jolly Rancher nerd.
I know what my kids go for, and they go for anything chocolate
Right.
first.
Oh.
I saw a little
And
cartoon
suckers.
the other day that
Chocolate and suckers, we're good.
it had a picture of Death at their doorstep and this old lady, handing out candy. And Death's like, hey, and she's like, here, you want some candy? He's like, no, that's not what I'm really here for.
Oh my god.
She drops candy in the bag, and he's like, oh, you're giving out full-size Snicker bars. He's like, on second thought, he's like, I'll come back later. He's like,
Oh my god. All right, and on that note, we would like to thank Casey L. Bond for coming and hanging out with us tonight and indulging in our crazy, crazy games and activities.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome.
It was our pleasure, and with that, we are on to the next segment.
All right. Very
Next
good.
victim.
Right?
Yeah, next victim.
Right, seriously.
Yeah.
This week's Sign of the Apocalypse is the well-talked-about Guardian article, Am I Being Catfished?, where an author confronts her #1 book critic.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, man. This
That's the kind of lead-in that just needs one.
Right. This whole, and just like this segment, this whole situation's a hot mess. It's just bad. It's bad for everybody. But basically,
no one is going to win from this
yes.
situation.
For anyone that's not familiar with this, an author basically got some bad reviews, or got a bad review online. There were some off things about it, and so she started digging and investigating this book blogger that posted this negative review. And she started, the more she got into it, trying to figure out, why this person left this really bad review, and there were some inconsistencies about, what she was saying in some of her other reviews and some of her online accounts, and so she started digging, and it eventually led to a confrontation, like finding this person and discovering that she wasn't really who she said she was online, which, I mean, in fairness, how many of us are who we really say we are online?
Now you seem suspicious.
Right, I know. Now I'm just like, my God, Carrie's catfishing me.
Yes.
Not even Carrie. She paid some woman to talk to me today.
That's exactly it.
And she confronts this lady, basically, the book blogger, about it.
In person. Well, tries to in person.
Right. There's a whole, it's just a whole, the Guardian article is just massively long. There's now, of course, as you can imagine, there is a BuzzFeed books article that came out basically chronicling the crap storm that has become what this is now. Authors are both going to the defense of the blogger, saying that the author, and book bloggers too, naturally, but are kind of going in defense of the blogger, saying this author had no right to track her down, and it's scary, and it's stalking, and all those things. And then there are, of course, people supporting the author, saying the nasty reviews have gotten out of hand, and we've kind of all been in that place where a review turns personal. And so it's just turned into this thing, and now there's like active movements to sort of blacklist this author, which was kind of the problem to start with, I think. With
and then there's like isn't there like an author-run site that's like the opposite of that? Like when an author does something like cuckoo pants, they get on like authors behaving badly or something like that. And then the authors are like, what? Well, if you guys are going to make fun of us, we're going to make fun of you. And there's going to be like book bloggers behaving badly. Blah, 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 blah.
So now there are like these dueling sites of authors behaving badly, and so these authors, if you get listed on there, you get blacklisted on blogs, book blogs, which kind of are a little bit of the lifebread.
Lifeblood.
Yeah. And then vice versa, if you're a blogger and you get listed on the author one, apparently then authors won't do interviews with you, and they won't send you arcs, and they won't do all these things.
Yeah.
It's just
like a power struggle.
It totally is. Totally is.
Then there are people like us in the middle that are like, I just want to write books.
Right. And not have people be mean to us.
Yeah.
Is that too much to ask? Can you just not be mean? And frankly, all of this is the source of one of my biggest pet peeves in all of what we do, and that's Goodreads. Don't like Goodreads. Most authors, you put the truth serum in them, they'll tell you they do not like Goodreads either. It's just a breeding ground for hatefulness and
trolls and
yes. There have been stories on Goodreads dating way back of other authors going on and like creating fake accounts and downmarking people's books, and it's just Goodreads.
And it does happen. It's not just like stuff in the news. Like it happens to almost everyone.
Absolutely. Even unpopular authors like me.
Yeah.
have been targeted by sort of malicious reviewers and people like that, and so.
But we don't go to their houses.
Right. I will set that straight right now. I do not care enough to go to your house and find you. I'll just
No.
maybe I should, but
Gas is expensive.
it totally is. Totally is.
Oh, but-
Background checks are expensive. This lady did an online background check of this blogger.
Like the whole time I was reading this, I'm like, what is going? Like, have you ever seen Firefly, where Simon is like holding his face and he's like, "This must be what going mad feels like." Like that is my reaction the whole time.
And it turns your stomach, especially from an author's perspective, in so many levels, because we've all been there. It hurts. Like, and especially when a review goes from being sort of objectively critical, which is fine. Like, I don't know many authors that care about that.
Yeah.
But when it goes to that, to sort of a personal thing, because Carrie's, you're a PR person, your background's in that, so you know. I mean, I've listened to what you say, and everybody else that does PR say that, you know, you're in this day and age of social media, you're not selling your books, you're selling you.
Yeah, you're selling a whole brand.
Right. And when it is you, like when you're selling yourself, man, if those attacks cross the line and get personal, then it feels like they're attacking you and not just your product, if that makes sense, you know.
Right.
And so it's easy. It's easy to get to that level.
Yeah, absolutely.
This just went to that level on both sides. Like, both of them.
It escalated quickly, it sounds like.
A crazy personal level on this.
I think we go into this industry, I mean, you have to go into this industry with open eyes, and you know that somewhere down the line, someone is going to cross the line, you know. But, you know, you may have those feelings of, you know, I'm going to come to your house and you will realize this is not the internet anymore, son. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you don't ever go to the stalking place.
Right.
Like stay away from the bad place.
So, and here, we have in the article, you can read the actual review that was left. And just in context, so these are all, like, she didn't even write anything other than 2 words at the end, which I'll read edited. These are all tags, like, so she like created tags for these. So it says art, almost fell asleep, caught in a bad romance, doesn't deserve the hype, disappointments, hooray for masochism, judge a book by the cover, no stars for you, NetGalley, Edelweiss, Arc, snark bait, ooh unmet potential, was warned not to read this. And then the only words she wrote actually in the review, F this, that's it. That was
wow, that's
on Goodreads, and it got 170 likes.
That's helpful.
Right. Wow, you know?
Yeah. But, I mean, that's sad. This is what our industry is being reduced to.
Yeah, hashtags. And F this.
Hashtags.
Basically.
Drop the mic. I'm out.
Right. Hashtag sucks. Hashtags go to hell.
And you know, and I mean, not specifically about this blogger, but sometimes it seems like the reviews are not so much to say, you know, how you felt about the book, or like to tell other people, you know, warn them like, you might like this, you might not like this, or whatever. It seems like they're trying to like outdo reactions to see how many reactions. It's like posting on Facebook when you're like, look, it's a baby, look, it's a puppy, you know, how many likes can I get?
And that's why Goodreads drives me crazy, to be honest, because it's set up.
That's why it's a sign of the apocalypse.
Right, exactly. That's why this is all going to heck in a handbasket, folks.
You know, Amazon, it's like listening to this, they're like, you guys were talking about our stores, and we were so happy in the beginning, and now you're talking about Goodreads.
Right. That belongs to them, too, just like heaven.
Yeah.
Everything else.
Like heaven. No one can accuse us of being partial, because everyone is fair game, apparently.
Right. All right, kids. Well, that wraps up our inaugural episode of Alleycast. Go dig your bunkers, because we will be back with more signs of the apocalypse.
More signs of the apocalypse.
Our return, in fact, could very well be a sign of the apocalypse.
It could be. Be sure to join us for the next episode, where we talk with author L.K. Lewis about NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, takes place in November. As always, be sure to check out our website at www.naalley.com. Thank you.